Hi, Nancy Burt-Preece here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm making this video both for Link by Ink demonstrators as well as some of my own customers. So if you have any contact information or questions, let me know. Here is the card we're going to make today. It's a simple fun fold. And I thought with the sentence, let me say that 3 times, sending a little sweetness your way could be a thinking of you card. It could be lots of different things. If you wanted it to be Valentine, you could. I've seen, I think Lynn Dunn originally did this card, but then I've seen it recently with Karen Titus. I'm not really sure who created it. It is so easy, and I love that you use most of the parts of the card. You don't waste a lot, which I think is awesome. So let me show you how to make this. The first time I made it, I just stamped right on the white circle. The second time when I'm making it with you, I actually punched out the jar to go on the white. And I think I'm going to like that a little bit better. And I'm actually, now that I'm talking, don't you like when you change things right on camera? I don't know. Can I do a smaller white circle? Let me see if I can, because that might help it be easier to line up. So let me check. Will that line up a little easier? Yes. Will the sweet jar fit on there? Yes. So I'm going to change what I tell you. Don't use a 2 3/8 circle. Use a 2 1/2, because you'll see when I line it up, it gets a little tricky. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. And, you know, that's just your regular card base. I need a 4 by 5 1/4 inside, and I need a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of designer series paper. I am using the Sweet Jar bundle. This comes with the punch. I didn't show you how to do that. I think you pretty much know. Basically, you stamp the black part first, then the flirty flamingo and the red on top, and punch it out. It is so easy, and it's kind of like you can't make a mistake. I love that. So now I'm going to take my card base, and because of our trimmer, I love that you can actually go off and use some of the measurements on the right-hand side. So I'm going to line this up at 1 inch, as close as I can. And I'm going to use the dark blade to cut off 1 inch. Save this, because we're going to use it. The next thing I'm going to do is cut off 1 inch of our designer series paper. And that is it. This goes together quickly. People like it. It's a different kind of fun fold. So I always enjoy doing that with people that are stamping. So the first thing you can do if you want to is go ahead and put the designer series paper on the front. It's double-sided, so you can use whichever side you want. That's what I always like about our designer series paper, and it is such a nice quality. So I'm going ahead and lining that up as good as I can. That I'm going to go ahead, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this designer series paper right to the front. And I see my friend Jackie. Hi, Jackie. And I'm not great at catching all the comments when I'm live, so I promise I will catch them after. So we're just going to put a little bit of designer series paper here, right lining up with the edge of that white. I would recommend using a liquid glue for this, because then you can move it around. Can you do it with seal? Absolutely. I just have more luck. Now, before I do this on, I always wanted to do that. Don't do that. You're going to get your trimmer out again. This piece that we cut off, we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to actually do 2 3/4, and I'm going to score it Last time I did a lot and it seemed a little too big. I did 2.5. I think I might like this better. So let me check. Yeah, because it comes in a little bit less. So what I'm going to do is on one piece of this, I'm going to add some glue. And I'm going to make sure that this part is right at the edge because you got to be able to open it or it doesn't work. Can you line it up and measure it completely? Yes, I'm an eyeballer, but you can measure it and then just push that down. Now, before I put this down, I'm going to stamp sending a little sweetness. And this is very clever because you can send a little party, a little love. You could put that in there too. A little luck. I'm just sending a little sweetness. So I stamp this one first, trying to make sure I'm lining it up. Now, I find this pretty easy because I've done it with lots of people with this stamp set. And I have to tell you that every time I ink up the sweetness and put it in there, it's usually pretty accurate. The tricky part is you got to make sure, I've used it so much, make sure you have it going the right way. And there you go. I will go ahead and adhere that to our card. There we go. Now I'm going to come back with my bone folder, just add a little bit of bone folder there. Now I've seen it where you don't put something to cover up the back flap. I don't like that. It just doesn't look finished to me. I don't know why. So where did I put a circle that I just punched out? Well, I guess I'll punch out another one. Is this the 2.5? Yes, I think it is. Let me make sure it fits. Nope, that's the bigger one. Oh, here we go. Just when you think you're all organized, right? It's probably on the floor someplace. I'm going to punch out another 2.5-inch circle, and I'll show you how we're going to line these up. So I'm not going to put this on until the very end. So I'm going to only put a little adhesive, and you can use whichever, on this part of the flap. Only on the flap, not on the back. And I'm going to go ahead, kind of line that up. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to put it now on the entire circle, and only on this red part that you can see there. Don't put it past there. And I'm going to turn it over. And I think it's easier to line this one up than the other one. I really struggled lining the other one up. This one is much easier. So I'm just putting that down. That way, when you open it, it has a nice red in the back. I just think it looks better that way. Yes, you're right, Missy. I will find that missing circle someplace. Isn't that the goofiest thing? Now, I think I'm going to pop that up this time because I think it will. And I think I'm going to have the people at my classes actually punch out the jar. I just found that I could get it a little bit better organized that way. And if I have strips for people to punch on, it's not hard. So make sure I got all those out. Sometimes I put them at an angle, and it's very funny because the people in my class do not like it when I put it on an angle, but you know, sometimes I like it. I just used our silver glossy, our silver paper, silver foil. I knew I'd get it. Silver foil. And I punched out the top. It just kind of reminds me, my grandma used to have a jar that we could have a treat from when we came over. And it had a silver lid. And I just remember that distinctly as a kid. So here we have a very cute fun fold flap card that packs a wow. And yet it's so easy to make, and it's featuring some of that gorgeous new Made with Love Designer Series paper. So I hope that you enjoy this card. It's not hard. Remember, it's only 1 inch, and then you just score it at 2.5. I forgot to tell you, I am using the stylish shaped circles that I cut out in real red cardstock and white. It's relatively easy. 2 ink colors, including, and then basic black. So I'll make that 3 ink colors. So I hope you try this. I look forward to trying it with the sweet bugs, with all different new stamp sets that are coming out. So have a wonderful day. Take care.